Aloha, my name is Kaleialoha Lum-Ho, and I was born in Wailuku, Maui, and raised on Moloka'i and in Puna on the island of Hawai'i. And I moved here in 2008 for work. My family comes primarily from Moloka'i and Maui. Most people are probably familiar with the Lum-Ho family. Almost all my family members come from Maui. And then on my mom's side, my family primarily comes from Waipio Valley on Hawaii Island, as well as Moloka'i. I'm the Native Hawaiian STEM Success Counselor here at Honolulu Community College, and I work in Halau-Ikeo Pu'uloa. So my primary students are students who are interested in going into the natural sciences, as well as computer science and any technology-based degrees. So as far as my creative process and how I got into art, I actually have always been interested in art. I come from an art family. My grandmother is Marilyn Kahalewai. She was a painter, and she's probably most well known for doing the Pūpū A painting at Kamehameha schools. And she was also a resident artist at Kamehameha for several years. And then my father is also an artist. He's a carver, and he does mostly woodwork. So I've been around art pretty much my whole life. I grew up in that scene, did gallery shows from when I was a young child. But as I started getting more into academics, I kind of strayed from going into artwork. And I started doing ohe kapala when I was dancing hula. And that was in 1997. And really got interested in that. I love the simplicity of ohe kapala and just using really bold designs and being able to carve something with your own blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, sometimes I've bled over my own ohe kapala. And then about a few years ago, I started doing block printing, which is kind of a transfer of the same skills and the same techniques, but onto a much easier substance. So I really enjoyed doing block prints because it gives me a chance to do ohe kapala without all the sharp tools and blood. And I actually started doing that through a workshop that we were implementing when I was working at Kamehameha schools. So we were teaching someone else how to do block printing, and I picked up on it really quickly. And so I've been doing block printing for about 2 years now, and primarily my block prints are native plants and some native animals. And I've always been inspired by nature. My father is a naturalist, and he used to take us, when we lived in the Big Island, we used to go hiking at Volcano almost every weekend. So from a young age, I was very attracted to native plants. And so I was always using that as my inspiration. And actually, my biggest inspiration for making prints is my friends and family. So pretty much every single block print that I've made is dedicated to somebody, and it's their special print, and usually I give them something for a birthday or a special occasion with that print on it, and then just using it other ways. And then I also found more recently that by combining the ohe kapala and the block prints, you get a nice juxtaposition of old and new. So it's really kind of mixing traditional and modern art techniques. And so I've started doing that a lot more lately. Right now, it's just kind of something I do for fun. It's a stress relief. I don't sell anything. I give everything away. But I think eventually I would like to turn it into a business venture and be able to share it more widely.
Any words of advice for somebody who might want to get into?
I think the biggest thing I always tell people when I try to show them how to do ohe kapala or block printing is there's no such thing as wrong with art. I find that the biggest obstacle people have when they're trying to create art is thinking there's a right or a wrong way. And the other big issue I see with people who are having blocks is that it's not perfect. And I think that's a really big thing to remember, is that art is not supposed to be perfect. The imperfections are oftentimes what makes it beautiful. So just remembering it's not perfect and it doesn't need to be right. It's just what inspires you and what you're feeling. And with block printing and ohe kapala in particular, I think the biggest issue people have is they make it too hard on themselves. And so I've done workshops before where somebody wants to tell the whole kumulipo with one, a 1 inch wide stamp, and it's just trying to remind them that you need to just be simple. And I think that's the most beautiful part about art, is its simplicity, especially with ohekapala. And just rather than taking a step back and looking at everything and trying to put that whole story into one stamp, really honing in and finding one specific detail to make a pattern for. And so I think that's the best advice I can give for somebody who wants to go into something like this.